Hello all, good morning, good evening. So today we are going to discuss about Genesys Cloud CX professional certification question and answers. So basically this questions and answers pattern will cover around 60 questions for it will inclusive of administration, implementation and reporting. So today we'll discuss the first 10 questions for Genesys Cloud certifications. The first question is related to based on the official Genesys Cloud CX architecture, which of the following function is primarily performed within architect. So basically, architect tool which is used in Genesys Cloud environments to develop the call flows, inbound flows, key flows, outbound flows, message flows, email flows, lots of flows we can develop and then configure, like configuring text to speech, playing prompts, etc. So for each and every call flow, we'll have these kind of basic features to implement it as part of the architect flow JSON codings. So based on my understanding, I want to select this. Answer is C. Managing the logic for text to speech (TTS), text to speech, and playback of system prompts. So here I have a clue as well. Refer to the destination between resource configuration, admin, and call flow logic architect. So as I said, architect is a place where we can develop call flow logic. So the call flow logic, these are the things we used to perform. So I lock it this answer C. So architect is a design tool used to define the logic of how interactions are handled, including playing prompts and converting text to speech. So we got it. Let me move on to the second question. In Genesys Cloud, administrator needs to access to restrict access so that a supervisor can only manage members of a specific department's queue. Which feature she used to achieve this resource isolation? So based on my understanding and experience, division is the correct answer. Let me check the hint. Think about the tool used for administrative partitioning of objects. So here locations, groups, sites, this is and all doesn't cover administrative partitioning. So division means in an organization, any organization wherever Genesys Cloud has been implemented, there we can see division is the one of the object. We can create multiple division. For an example, development team, IT team, and then HR team, and then who else? Business team. So various we can create it. Each and every team will come under one division. So each division will have multiple users has been tagged under particular division. So only those users can able to view all the objects. The access provided to the particular division will be um, used for viewing all the objects in the Genesys cloud. So options, data, they cannot able to view it. That's why we use division object to partition the administrator. Let me log this answer. This is the correct answer. Division allow you to group objects like users and assign roles, especially specifically to those enabling multi-tenant like isolation within a single org. Given queues and users, Those are all objects. While creating a queues and users, we need to select the division so that so all the access permission will be covered under particular division. So this is we are clear. I'll be moving on to next question. When configuring a SIP trunk in a Genesys Cloud BYOC cloud environment, which component is responsible for terminating the signaling from the provider? Based on my experience, Genesys Cloud Media Tier Cloud Edge is the answer. Let me check on the hint. Identify the difference between BYOC premises and BYOC cloud. So here is the answer. In BYOC cloud, the signaling and media are handled by the Elastic Genesys Cloud Media Tier resources. So this is the correct answer. I move on to the next one because these are all related to Genesys Cloud Edge hardware, not no media connecting earlier. And the answer C is customers local PBX, which is used in the local telephoning system, which is not going to connect to the SIP trunk and the external provider. And again, the architect tool, which we already discussed, this is internal for the Genesys Cloud for developing architect flows. Let me move on to the next question. In an architect is designing an inbound flow that need check if your customer is premium before routing. Which architecture should be used to retrieve this data from an external CRM system via a REST API? So basically, REST API we use in our Genesys Cloud communicate with this external system like a CRM system or Salesforce or any database. We use to communicate from Genesys Cloud. In that scenario, we use web service data action um, communicate with the external system. For that, we use action component, which will retrieve from the other system, and we can make use of it in this is called architect flow for further call flow logic handling. So this is the right one. And these are all data table lookup is kind of local database in Genesys Cloud. Find user is a function which is used as part of the architect. Transfer to number is a straightforward and it gives the meaning of like in the architect transfer to number tool action used to the number, transfer the call to this particular number, any number, whatever we are going to configure. So anyway, I will check the hint. Look for the action that connects the flow to external integration. Basically, to use, we need to have the external integration and then use the external action to create call data action. So in the call data action, this is the answer. It allows architect to communicate with external web services or platform using pre-configured data action. So here configuration external URL, the external link we have to configure. So each data action will contain input contract and output in the request body, and then output response we need to configure it. So this is a standard way of configuring implementing the data action in the architect. Let me move on to the next question. In the context of contact center analytics, how is average speed of answer, that is ASA, calculated? ASA equal total interaction time, total answer time. This is not. This is average speed of answer. They're asking whenever the call comes, it will alert to an agent. So they have to answer call within a few seconds. So that those seconds will be configured as part of the queue. So if they are not answering call within a stipulated time, the call will be agents. So total abandon time. It is not abandon time. We are expecting speed of answer. That's answer C is total answered time, total interaction answered. Yes, this is seems to be a correct. The fourth one is total alerting time, and then total agents online. So this is not a correct one. Let's check out the hint. Consider only calls that were successfully connected to an agent. Here is the one. Average speed of answer specifically measures the wait time for interaction that were actually answered by an agent. So each call will be waiting before route to an agent. So those time is calculated as total answer wait time and divided by total interaction answered. So all the calls answer for the day, for the week, for the month. So this can be evaluated based on this formula. So we got answer. So this kind of questions will be in the exam, Genesys Cloud Professional exam, CX certification exam. So it is a note down. I'll move on to the next one, which is required for a user to create and edit other users' permission within their assigned division. Let me. Here is administrative task required administrative roles. Definitely, in every organization there will be a administrator. They used to create or edit the user permissions. So it is a straightforward. The answer is B, master admin or equivalent with the admin permissions. So this is a correct answer to modify the user roles. So this we can edit it. There will be a object called direct. And then user had edit and authorization permission will be given as part of the configuration. These are all telephony. This is not the one contact center agent. No communicate user. These are under permission roles. Let me move on to what is the primary purpose of a site in Genesys telephony configuration. So site is one of the mm, component while doing the big configuration in Genesys Cloud. Whenever we set up initial configuration for the organization, we use a site will be configured as part of the Genesys Cloud configuration. Let me check on this one. So to group edges, define numbering plans and set regional dial plan. It seems to be this is a correct answer. Let me check on the think about where you configure dials and edge association. Yeah, here is a dial plans. So we have a dial plans. So we can directly log this answer. The remaining three answers are related to define the geographic branding for the company. No. And then to manage WebRTC license solution allocations. So the WebRTC is basically it is a phone type which will be which is a kind of software as Genesys Cloud, which will act as a phone to receive calls and make calls. So this is used as a system as part of the Genesys Cloud to act as a container for ACD queues. No, this is the correct answer. A site means how calls are handled for a specific physical or logic issue, including dial plans and emergency routing. This is the right answer. Let me move on to the next one. In Genesys Cloud Architect flow, what happens if an interaction is a transfer to a action and no agents are currently available or on queue? Let me show this hint. What is the name of the that handles the waiting experience? So how to check the flow, which flow is used to handle the waiting experience. So in Genesys Cloud, we have a queue and each queue will have agents being configured. When our call comes, the transfer to ACD means, so if the call flow the required business logic, it is decided there itself which queue the call has to be routed. To route the call, we use transfer to ACD action. This action will transfer the call to queue agents. Agent will be alerted, and if the agent is available, they will answer immediately. If not, the call will go to in queue. Here is the answer. The interaction enters the in queue flow associated with queue. Each and every will have a configured with the in queue flow name. The queue configuration will have voice tab. Under the voice tab, there will be a in queue flow configuration. We need to select the in queue flow, whatever we have developed for this application, so that if the agents are busy, the queue, the call will be waiting in queue flow, and it will play some wait duration, waiting wait treatment. So like if all the agents are busy, it offer voicemail option, or else it will keep prompting like please wait until the agents are available. So your call will be answered, something like that. So those prompts will be played in the in-queue flow. Once agents are available, they will answer the call and wrap up the call. So let me log this answer. Once transferred to an ACD queue, the interaction follows the logic defined in in-queue flow. Music on hold, position announcement, and answer. Yeah, this is what I said in my way. Let me move on to this next one. Which metric measures the percentage of time an agent is handling interaction or performing wrap-up work compared to the total time logged in and available? So basically metric, we want to give the answer for metric measures the percentage of time an agent is handling interaction. So these are all average handle time. Utilization is nothing, like what are the medias you are working on, like voice, message, like a chat flow, or email interaction, which are the medias you are working on. So those will be configured under the utilization configuration. Adherence, it does not answer. So my understanding is occupancy is a percentage of time agents spent on active interaction related task while in a state where they could receive work. Yeah. So how much time they spent on the particular interactions related task. Let me move on to the next one. You need to create a routing strategy where a call is first offered to agents with a Spanish skill level 5. After 30 seconds, it is offered to any with a Spanish skill level 3 or higher. Which routing methods support this? So basically, these are all routing options. Think of target with expanding rings. So this is a clue. So which routing method is having expanding rings option? So standard routing. So standard routing doesn't have a expanding ring option. Manual routing. I don't think this is a correct one. I have not seen this one. Bullseye routing. Yeah, I will come back. This one. This should be the answer. Predictive routing. Let me log this bullseye routing. Yeah. So bullseye routing allows you to define rings increments that expand the pool of eligible agents by relaxing skill requirements over time. So here is a Spanish skill level 5. Level 5 is a top level agents which will be targeted initially. If all the top level 5 agents are busy, then it will try after 30 seconds. It will try to alert to those agents who are all having level 3 higher. So these agents will be targeted in the second level. So up to 6 level we can able to configure it in the routing for the particular skills to focus on the agents. So this is a bullseye routing is a correct answer.